This is the story of how a petty, power-tripping HOA board member named Beatrice, fueled by nothing but an overabundance of entitlement and a deep-seated hatred for a perfectly normal suburban lawn, made the catastrophic mistake of messing with the wrong neighbor, and how that neighbor delivered the most satisfying, devastating public humiliation the entire community of Whisper Creek Estates had ever seen, resulting in Beatrice's immediate, ignominious resignation and a legal judgment that bankrupted her. They leaked his private gate code to their friends as a joke. He made sure the entire neighborhood used her cell phone number to get in. If you want to see exactly how this epic, legally precise, and utterly brutal payback went down, you need to stick with us for every single minute of this neighborhood drama. Smash the like button if you've ever had to deal with an overzealous HOA monster. Hit that subscribe button right now, because we drop new high-stakes property dispute sagas every single week, and trust me, you absolutely cannot miss the end of this one. We're talking legal maneuvers, digital warfare, and the sweetest taste of poetic justice. Or don't forget to ring that notification bell. Our protagonist is Marcus, a quiet, successful software engineer who moved into Whisper Creek Estates for the peace and the security. Namely, the imposing iron security gate that required a personalized, private code. Marcus was meticulous. His lawn was the epitome of suburban compliance, perfectly edged, lush green, not a single rogue dandelion. His only adversary was Beatrice Vance, a woman whose life peaked when she was voted onto the 3-person HOA board, and who, from that day forward, treated the bylaws as her personal manifesto for microtyranny. The initial conflict was almost laughably small, a seed of spite planted in fertile ground. Marcus had installed a small, tasteful, solar-powered path light near his driveway, the kind you could buy at any hardware store. The minor skirmish over a path light exploded into a full-scale digital war of attrition. Marcus immediately filed a formal complaint with the property management company PMC regarding the breach of his gate code security, citing the unauthorized access logs. The PMC, which was terrified of the domineering Beatrice, stalled. Beatrice, meanwhile, escalated her harassment. She didn't just ignore the complaint. She retaliated with a vengeance only an entitled board member could muster. Marcus didn't waste time with lawyers for the petty fines. He focused on the core injustice, the unlawful deactivation of his access, and the deliberate malicious leaking of his private security code. He first filed an emergency motion in small claims court, seeking an immediate order to restore his access, citing the HOA's gross overreach and breach of fiduciary duty. This was a quick, aggressive move designed to surprise them. In parallel, he executed his master plan. Marcus had managed to get an encrypted copy of the entire resident directory database. In a late-night session, fueled by cold coffee and pure vengeance, he isolated Beatrice Vance's personal contact information, her home phone, and, critically, her private cell phone number, which was registered in the gate system's emergency contact field. The genius of Marcus's plan lay in the gate system's poorly designed emergency vendor access protocol. The system allowed authorized vendors like FedEx, pizza delivery, etc., to use a specific non-resident access code. But what Marcus knew, and what Beatrice didn't, was that the system also had an undocumented backdoor. It allowed the entry of a resident's private contact number in lieu of their registered gate code for authenticated vendor verification. It was a system failsafe, not a feature, but it was exploitable. Using his software skills, Marcus created a short, anonymous, and incredibly compelling PDF flyer. The headline was simple: Neighborhood Security Alert, Free Permanent Vendor Guest Access Code. The flyer claimed that due to recent security breaches, the HOA had implemented a new permanent Easy Tour member vendor guest code for streamlined access. The code listed was Beatrice Vance's private 10-digit cell phone number. The flyer instructed residents to give this number to their delivery drivers, gardeners, cleaners, and every single one-time guest, promising it would bypass the annoying call box and get them straight through. Marcus then distributed this flyer to literally every resident, not through the gate but through a highly specific, anonymous email list he had built from public records and a brief tactical data scrape making it look like it came from an official button-traceable neighborhood watchdog group. Hey! The immediate effect was chaos. Within 24 hours, Beatrice Vance's personal cell phone began ringing non-stop. Every Pizza Hut delivery driver, every Amazon courier, Every random person visiting the community was punching her private number into the gate keypad. Since her number was registered as an emergency contact, the system didn't just reject it, it routed the call directly to her phone for verification. Her phone became the neighborhood's official call box. Her nights were spent answering calls from confused landscapers and angry Uber drivers. Marcus, meanwhile, walked into the small claims hearing, armed not with just his printouts, but with audio recordings of Beatrice admitting to leaking the code and the anonymous social media posts. The judge, seeing the clear evidence of malfeasance and the subsequent illegal deactivation of Marcus's access, was furious. The ruling was swift. Marcus's access was restored immediately. All outstanding fines were vacated, and the HOA was found liable for the costs of his injunction filing. This was the core victory. Beatrice was exposed, and Marcus was exonerated. But the ringing of Beatrice's phone was the real-time soundtrack of her descent. The fallout was instant and merciless. The gates, now programmed with Beatrice's private cell phone number as the unofficial guest code, were causing a residential meltdown. Drivers were confused, residents were infuriated, and Beatrice's phone was a hot, vibrating testament to her poor choices. She had to turn it off just to sleep, which then locked her out of receiving actual emergency calls, a serious liability. Neighbors, initially unaware of the true culprit, soon put the pieces together. Marcus's legal victory and the vacated fines were publicly posted on the community forum by the PMC's desperate new legal team, which was trying to minimize the damage. The truth came out. Beatrice was not a benevolent rule enforcer. She was a spiteful security risk who had exposed private resident data. The public shaming was brutal. The community forum, usually a graveyard of lost cats and garage sale notices, erupted. Beatrice is banned. Why is my 3 a.m. pizza guy calling her? She leaked Marcus's code, she should be sued. The board held an emergency, closed-door meeting that lasted until 2 a.m. By the morning, the PMC issued a tersely worded community-wide email. The board has accepted the immediate resignation of Beatrice Vance, effective immediately. Furthermore, all access codes have been purged and reset due to a catastrophic security breach caused by the former board member's actions. But Marcus wasn't finished. The HOA still had to answer for the $5,000 emergency audit fee they tried to pin on him and the legal costs he incurred. He refiled his motion, now seeking damages for defamation, malicious prosecution, and the severe emotional distress caused by the unlawful deactivation of his access. He cited Beatrice's personal actions, not just the HOA. The legal battle shifted, focusing entirely on Beatrice's egregious conduct. In a stunning piece of payback, the judge ruled that while the HOA was a governing body, Beatrice Vance, through her direct and malicious actions leaking the code, inventing fines, signing off on the illegal deactivation, had acted outside the scope of her authority and was thus personally liable for the damages. Marcus was awarded $25,000 in compensatory damages, legal fees, and punitive damages. This wasn't a fine. It was a personal judgment against Beatrice. The woman who tried to bankrupt her neighbor over a solar light was now personally bankrupted by her own malice. The best part? The gate system was so thoroughly corrupted by the phone number code deployment that they had to completely rip out the old system and replace it with a new, state-of-the-art one, costing the community over $80,000. For which the insurance company, citing gross negligence by a named board member, refused to pay fully. The long-term aftermath was delicious, a slow-burn victory that marinated in the sweet juices of sustained public hatred. Beatrice couldn't afford the $25,000 judgment, and Marcus, the cold, calculating engineer of justice, refused to negotiate. He slapped a lien on her house. Every time she tried to refinance, sell, or even breathe, Marcus's lien was there, a scarlet letter of her failure. Her once pristine yard ironically fell into disrepair because the massive community-wide anger meant no landscaper, vendor, or contractor in a 5-mile radius would work for the woman who ruined the gate. They all cited scheduling conflicts, or previous commitments, or unforeseen equipment failures. Essentially, she was blacklisted by her own community. The true final nail, however, was the fate of the infamous Pathlight. With Beatrice gone, the new sane HOA board immediately reviewed all outstanding violation notices. Solar Pathlight was deemed compliant, tasteful and welcome addition to the curb appeal of the home. But Marcus, having achieved total devastating victory, didn't leave it at that. He waited exactly 90 days, the original architectural review period Beatrice had mockingly cited. On the 91st day, Marcus installed a massive professional-grade lighting system on his property, a full suite of hardwired, high-powered uplights and spotlights that made his home look like a small stadium. It was all professionally designed, fully approved by the new board, and completely within the new, reasonable guidelines. The sheer brightness of the installation was a constant, blinding beacon of Beatrice's failure. It wasn't a security light. It was a monument to his victory. And he gave the new actual gate code to his gardener, his pool guy, his friends, and his family, all of whom got in instantly and effortlessly. Beatrice, who still lived down the street under the pall of her financial ruin, and social isolation, had to drive past that brightly lit, perfectly legal, utterly triumphant house every single day. Her privacy was ruined, her reputation was destroyed, her wallet was empty, and her life was now a living testament to the simple truth. You come for the security of a software engineer, you get a nuclear-level digital counterattack. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you beat the HOA. Don't forget, if you want to see more high-stakes HOA drama, hit that subscribe button right now. Tell me in the comments, what was the single most satisfying moment of Marcus's payback? Was it the $25,000 judgment, or the moment Beatrice's phone started ringing non-stop? Let me know below, and I'll see you in the next epic homeowner showdown. Ring that bell.